While recovering from a broken leg, I got protecting our home during a break-in. I heard my wife tell her friends in the next room, he can't even defend our house properly. I'm stuck playing nurse to an invalid now. This marriage was the biggest mistake of my life. They all agreed she deserved better. I continued my recovery without letting on what I'd heard. 3 days later, she called 13 times, begging me to undo what I did. I, 34M, have been married to Charlotte, 32F, for 6 years. We met through mutual friends at a happy hour back when those were still a thing, pre-pandemic life, remember that? The connection was instant. She was smart, ambitious, and honestly way out of my league, or so I thought. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago, and I learned just how accurate that last part might be. We live in a decent neighborhood. Not fancy, just a regular suburban area where people mostly mind their business. Crime isn't common, but it's not unheard of either. Our house is nothing special. A three-bedroom we've been slowly fixing up. Charlotte always complained it wasn't as nice as her sister's place, but I thought we were building something together. The night it happened, Charlotte was at a team-building dinner with her coworker. These dinners always run late and usually involve plenty of white claws and selfies for the gram. Whatever. I was home playing Elden Ring and losing track of time. Typical Thursday night, don't judge. Around 11:30 p.m., I heard a weird scratching sound at our back door. At first I thought it was the neighbor's cat. That thing is always prowling around our yard. But then I heard a distinct crack, like someone was forcing the door. I'm not exactly the Rock or anything, but my fight or flight kicked in. I grabbed the baseball bat I keep next to the bed. Call me paranoid, but looks like it was justified, and headed downstairs. Long story short, there were two guys trying to break in. When they saw me, one ran, but the other guy panicked and charged at me. During the scuffle, I managed to land a solid hit, but I also fell awkwardly down the last 3 steps of our staircase. My leg twisted underneath me with a sickening pop that I can still hear when I close my eye. The noise must have scared them off completely because by the time our Ring doorbell alerted the neighbors, both guys were gone. Nothing was stolen, but I was left with a compound fracture in my right leg, 2 surgeries, and a metal rod that's now basically part of my skeleton. The doctor said I'd be out of commission for at least 12 weeks. Fun times. Charlotte rushed to the hospital when she got the news. She seemed genuinely concerned, asking the doctors a million questions, helping me get settled at home, the whole supportive spouse routine. For the first few days, she was attentive, bringing me food, helping me to the bathroom, talk about testing a marriage LOL, and keeping up with my meds. But by day 5, I could tell her patience was wearing thin. The sighs got longer, the eye rolls more frequent. I get it. Nobody signs up to be a caretaker in their early 30s. Then came the day. You know, the one where your life splits into before and after. It was about a week post-surgery. Charlotte had invited her 3 closest friends over, Megan, Jess, and Amanda. They're the type who brunch hard and post quotes about living your truth, but judge everyone else's truth in their group chat. I never really clicked with them, but whatever makes Charlotte happy, right? I was upstairs in our bedroom Netflixing and trying to find a position where my leg didn't feel like it was on actual fire. I needed to use the bathroom. Pain meds, constant bathroom trips, PSA. So I grabbed my crutches and slowly made my way to the hallway. That's when I heard them. The bedroom door was slightly ajar and sound carries weirdly in our house. They were in the living room, probably on their 2nd or 3rd bottle of rosé, not exactly keeping their voices down. Charlotte was mid-sentence. Can't even defend our house properly. I mean, who gets their ass kicked by one burglar? Now I'm stuck playing nurse to an invalid. I had to cancel my spa weekend to change his disgusting bandages. Cue supportive friend noises and uh-huhs. Then the kicker. This marriage was the biggest mistake of my life. I thought I was getting a partner, not a patient. He's going to be useless for months. And the response from her wonderful friends? Variations of you deserve better. And why don't you just leave him while he's down bad? I stood there, balanced on my crutches, feeling like someone had just yanked the floor out from under me. 6 years. 6 fucking years of building a life together. And this is what she really thought? Side note, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Maya Angelou knew what was up. The weird thing about truly shocking moments is how calm you can. I didn't storm downstairs for a confrontation. I didn't throw anything. I just quietly crutched my way to the bathroom, did my business, and went back to bed. My leg hurt, but it had nothing on the hollow feeling in my chest. That night, Charlotte came to bed smelling like wine and fake sympathy. She asked if I needed anything in that sugary voice that now sounded so false. I said I was fine, turned away, and pretended to sleep while my mind raced at 100 miles per hour. Over the next few days, I watched her with new eyes. The mask slipped more often, the annoyed sighs when she had to help me shower, the way she'd check her phone while I was talking, how she'd accidentally bump my leg when making the bed. Small cruelties that I might have overlooked before. I started noticing other things too, like how she always seemed to be texting someone, then deleting the messages, how our joint account was taking more hits than usual for girls' nights and self-care purchases, the whispered phone calls she'd take in the backyard. I decided to do some digging while she was at work. Using my laptop, thank God for cloud backups, I found our financial statements showed some interesting patterns. Turns out, Charlotte had been slowly siphoning money into a separate account I didn't know about. Not massive amounts, but enough. About $200, $300 every month for the past year. Almost $4,000 total. Money that was supposed to be going toward our future. The more I discovered, the colder I felt. This wasn't just about some hurtful words said to friends. This was methodical. She was planning an exit strategy while I was working overtime to fund our someday plans. All those nights I stayed late to earn extra, thinking I was building our future? Joke's on me. I also found emails with a rental agent about a potential solo living situation dated 3 months ago. 3 months before my accident, before she was stuck playing nurse. And here's where my brain finally kicked into gear. Instead of confronting her, which would have felt so good in the moment, I decided to play the long game. If Charlotte wanted out, she'd get out, but on my terms, not hers. I kept everything normal on the surface. Thanked her for her help, apologized for being a burden, pretended I didn't see her texting while rolling her eyes at having to pick up my prescription. I became the perfect, grateful patient. Meanwhile, I contacted a lawyer. Without getting too specific, let's just say I work with computers, and Charlotte doesn't understand how digital footprints work. Every nasty text about me to her friends, every search for how to divorce injured spouse, every transfer to her secret account, all documented and backed up. I set up a separate account myself and began moving what I could without raising suspicion. I called in favors from actual friends, made plans, secured copies of important documents while she was at her essential mani-pedi appointment. The real kicker? According to the bank, I'm the one who's been keeping us afloat all these years. Charlotte makes good money, sure, but her spending habits are out of control. Those designer bags she got on sale? Not so much. The work trips that somehow always coincided with music festivals? Yeah, I was subsidizing those too. All this time I thought we were a team, and it turns out I was just her ATM with benefits. Yesterday, she left her laptop open when she went to shower. The temptation was too much. I found a folder of photos. Charlotte with some guy I've never seen, looking very friendly. Timestamps showed these were from last month before my accident. The file name? Weekend with S. How original. That was the final straw. I texted my buddy Ryan, who's letting me crash at his place starting tomorrow. I've already moved my important stuff out bit by bit when Charlotte's been at work. The lawyer has everything ready to go. Tomorrow is Charlotte's big presentation at work, the one she's been stressing about for weeks. The one that could lead to that promotion she's been chasing. She'll be gone all day, completely focused on impressing her boss. She has no idea what's waiting for her when she gets home. Update 1. First off, holy crap at all the responses to my first post. Did not expect to wake up to 10K plus upvotes and my inbox absolutely destroyed. Thanks for all the awards. Though save your money, folks. Reading your comments gave me the extra push I needed during some serious 3 a.m. doubt sessions. I promised an update after everything went down, so here we go. Where was I? Right? The plan. The morning after discovering Charlotte's Weekend with S photos, I woke up with this weird calm. You know when you're so angry you circle back around to feeling nothing? That. I lay there watching Charlotte get ready for applying her makeup with the precision of someone painting a masterpiece, completely oblivious that I was about to burn the whole gallery down. She leaned over to kiss me goodbye, a quick peck that felt like a stranger's, and reminded me that she'd be home late because of her team happy hour after the big presentation. Perfect timing, the universe throwing me a bone for. After she left, I called Ryan to confirm I could crash at his place. Ryan's been my boy since college. When I told him what was happening, he didn't even hesitate. Just said his spare room was mine for as long as I needed. Side note, find yourself friends who don't ask questions when you need help. Those are the real ones. Getting around with a broken leg is no joke, BTW. Every task takes 3x longer and uses 5x more energy. But rage is one hell of a motivator. I packed my essentials into 2 duffel bags. Clothes, electronics, important documents I'd already gathered. Nothing that would be immediately noticeable. Charlotte and I have had 3 main accounts. Joint checking for bills and everyday stuff. My personal account from before marriage that I kept for fun money. Her personal account that was supposed to be the same. What I discovered over the past week was account #4, her secret exit fund, that she'd been building for almost a year. And account #5, a credit card I didn't know existed with a $12K balance. In my name, with her as an authorized user. The statements went to an email address I didn't recognize. I took screenshots of everything, downloaded all statements, recorded the credit card company call where they confirmed when and how the card was opened. Apparently, electronic signature verification isn't as strict as you'd think. The lawyer I contacted, let's call him Dave, was recommended by another Reddit user who'd been through similar shit. Dave specializes in high-conflict divorces, which sounded dramatic until I showed him Charlotte's text to her friends about how she was planning to take him for everything once his leg heals. Dave didn't sugarcoat it. This would get messy, but the evidence was on my side. We worked out a strategy that some might call nuclear, but I prefer to think of as proportional response. Move half of our joint account to my personal account, legally allowed and fair. Contest. All recent charges on the secret credit card. Most were for her girls' trips and stuff for her alone. Document the timeline of her affair with S and her neglect during my recovery. File for divorce citing infidelity and financial abuse. The plan was to execute all of this while she was at her presentation, then be gone before she returned. Maximum impact, minimum confrontation. I'm still healing after all. No need for a dramatic showdown that might re-injure me. But here's where I almost lost my nerve. 2 nights before D-Day, Charlotte brought home takeout from my favorite Thai place. We watched that stupid baking show she knows I secretly love. She laughed at my jokes. For a few hours it felt like before, like maybe I was overreacting, like maybe we could fix this. Then her phone buzzed with a text. She angled it away from me instinctively, replied quickly, then excused herself to check on laundry. I heard her whispering in the hallway. When she came back, her energy had completely changed. Distracted, irritated when I asked her to help me to the bathroom. Reality check delivered. Plan back on. The morning of her presentation, Charlotte was a bundle of nerves. Outfit change #3. When I suggested she looked great in outfit #1. Classic Charlotte move. Ask for opinion, ignore opinion, get mad about giving opinion. She barely said goodbye, just reminded me her presentation was at 2, followed by the team celebration, so she'd be home late. Don't wait up. I watched her car pull away from our driveway for the last time. Then I made 3 calls. Ryan, coming to help with bags. Dave, executing legal paperwork. Bank, confirming transfer. Ryan showed up with coffee and a sympathetic lack of question. We loaded my stuff in about 20 minutes. I took one last look around the house. 6 years of memories, good and bad. The dent in the wall from when we tried to bring in the couch. The kitchen where I taught Charlotte to make pasta from scratch. The living room where I overheard the truth. I left my key and wedding ring on the counter with the divorce papers. David helped me draft a letter explaining exactly why I was leaving and what financial steps I'd already taken. No emotional pleas, just facts. Proof of her affair with S, screenshots of her text to friends about leaving me. Bank statements showing her secret account, credit reports showing the fraudulent card, medical records documenting my injury and recovery. I also left printouts of the legal steps I'd already taken to protect myself. Next to it all, I placed a small recording device, 100% legal in our state since it was my house too, that had captured her and her friends discussing me 3 weeks ago. The final nail. Before leaving, I took pictures of everything for proof of how it was left. Then Ryan helped me hobble to his car. As we pulled away, my phone buzzed with a calendar reminder. Charlotte presentation 2 p.m. I deleted it and powered down my phone. We stopped for lunch at this dive bar we used to frequent in college. I couldn't drink because of my meds, but Ryan raised a toast anyway. To new beginnings. The waitress probably thought we were day drinkers, but who cares? At Ryan's place, I set up my temporary command center in his spare room. Laptop, documents, new prepaid phone for emergencies. I even managed to shower by myself using the shower chair Ryan borrowed from his mom, who'd had knee surgery last year. Small victories. Around 4 in the afternoon, I turned my regular phone back on. The notifications started rolling in immediately. 2:45 p.m. Text from Charlotte. Where are the extra presentation handouts I printed? 3:12 p.m. Missed call from Charlotte 3:13 p.m. Text. Call me ASAP. There's a problem with our account 3:30 p.m. 5 missed calls 3:45 p.m. Voicemail. Charlotte sobbing, unintelligible. 4 p.m. Text. What the fuck, Dennis? Where are you? 4:05 p.m. Text. Please tell me this is a joke. 4:10 p.m. Text. I'm coming home now. 4:25 p.m. 13 missed calls. I sent one text. I know about S. I know about the credit card. I know what you said to your friends. The divorce papers explain everything else. Do not contact me, except through my lawyer. Then I blocked her number. Ryan came in with pizza and a look that said he knew I wasn't okay but wouldn't force me to talk about it. Instead, he set up his gaming console and handed me a controller. 4 hours of mindless zombie killing. Later, I finally felt like I could breathe, but the nuclear fallout was just beginning. Around midnight, the doorbell started ringing, then knocking, then Charlotte's voice, clearly drunk, alternating between threats and pleading. Ryan called security for his building, and they escorted her out. Apparently, she'd followed him home from our place at some point. Big yikes. The next morning, my email was flooded. Charlotte, subject, please read. I can explain everything. Charlotte, this isn't fair. Charlotte, you're ruining my life. Charlotte, the credit card was for US. Charlotte, S is just a friend. You're being paranoid. I forwarded them all to Dave without reading beyond the subject lines. Her friends were next. First came the angry texts accusing me of abandoning a marriage without trying to fix it. Then, mysteriously, silence from all of them around the same time. I found out later that Ryan, absolute MVP, had sent them all the recording of Charlotte's little wine session where they encouraged her to leave me while I was injured. Funny how quickly loyalty shifts when evidence appears. The most surreal part? Charlotte's mom called me. We'd always gotten along well. She's a no-nonsense lady who raised 3 kids alone after Charlotte's dad split. I answered out of respect. She didn't yell, didn't defend Charlotte, just asked for my side, listened quietly, then said something I'll never forget. Sometimes the people we love aren't the people we thought they were. That doesn't mean we didn't really love them. Then she apologized for what her daughter had done and wished me healing, for my leg and my heart. By day 3, Charlotte had escalated to showing up at Ryan's building with flowers, then crying in the parking lot, then threatening to call the police and report me missing, LOL. Security had to escort her out again. Dave sent her a cease and desist letter, which finally seemed to get through. The financial stuff hit her hard and fast. Without my income covering most of our expenses, and with half the joint account now legally separated, she was suddenly facing some harsh realities. Rent she couldn't afford alone. Car payment that was now solely her responsibility. Credit card bills for all those brunches and shopping sprees. The fraudulent card that was now frozen and under investigation. Her Instagram stories switched from mimosa brunches to cryptic quotes about betrayal, and you never know someone's full story. Classic move from the narcissist playbook. Rewrite history to make yourself the victim. It's been a week now. The initial shock has worn off, and I'm settling into my new temporary reality. My leg still hurts, but I'm making progress with physical therapy. Ryan's been solid, giving me space when I need it, and distraction when the thoughts get too loud. Dave says the divorce should be straightforward given the evidence. Charlotte has finally stopped trying to contact me directly and has hired her own lawyer. Her latest move? Claiming she deserves alimony because she sacrificed career opportunities for our marriage. Narrator: she did not. The plot twist that even I didn't see coming? S isn't returning her calls either. Apparently he's engaged to someone else and Charlotte was just a side piece. Found that out through a mutual friend who thought I already knew. The hits just keep coming. So here I am, 34, broken leg, crashed on my buddy's couch, going through a divorce I never wanted from a marriage that apparently wasn't what I thought it was. But you know what? For the first time in months, maybe years, I'm sleeping through the night. No more walking on eggshells. No more wondering why my wife seems irritated by my existence. No more subsidizing someone else's escape plan. Sometimes losing everything is actually losing what was already gone. Finally, update. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I've been putting off writing this because, well, life got complicated. My leg is mostly healed now, still doing PT twice a week, but unpacking the emotional baggage has been harder than learning to walk again. Thanks for all the DMs checking if I was still alive. I'm here. Just needed time to process everything before sharing it with half the internet. Where to even begin? Let's start with the meeting Dave, my lawyer, warned would be interesting. Charlotte's lawyer requested a sit-down to discuss terms before proceeding with the formal divorce. I was skeptical. What was there to discuss? The evidence was overwhelming. But Dave said these meetings can sometimes save months of legal back and forth. So I agreed. We met at Dave's office downtown. Getting there was my first solo trip using public transit with my healing leg. Small victory, but it felt significant. I arrived early, heart pounding in my chest like I was about to give a presentation to thousands. Funny how seeing your soon-to-be ex can be more terrifying than actual danger. Charlotte arrived exactly 7 minutes late, classic power move, wearing an outfit I'd never seen before. Hair freshly highlighted, makeup perfect, the Charlotte armor, full deployment. Our eyes met for approximately 2 seconds before she looked away, focusing instead on arranging her designer handbag, the one I now knew cost nearly $2,000 on that secret credit card, on the conference table. Her lawyer started with the usual posturing, how Charlotte was blindsided, how my actions were extreme, how I'd created unnecessary hostility in what could have been an amicable separation. Dave let them talk. Then he quietly opened his laptop and played the recording. Charlotte's voice filled the room, Can't even defend our house properly. Stuck playing nurse to an invalid. Biggest mistake of my life. Her face went through a fascinating transformation. Confusion, recognition, shock. Then something I'd never seen before. Genuine shame. Her lawyer's expression shifted too, from confident to concerned. Then Dave played Charlotte's voicemails from after I left. The ones where she alternated between threatening to destroy me and begging me to come back. The ones where she admitted to the affair but claimed it didn't mean anything. The ones where she acknowledged taking out the credit card in my name because she deserved nice things. By the third voicemail, Charlotte was staring at the table, shoulders hunched. Her lawyer called for a break. I heard urgent whispers from the hallway. When they returned, the tone had completely changed. Suddenly, Charlotte wanted to be reasonable. She'd agree to my terms if I would promise not to share the recording with anyone else. Too late. Her friends already heard it, courtesy of Ryan. She'd pay back the credit card if I would consider couples counseling. Nope. The meeting ended with Charlotte's lawyer asking for time to reassess their position. As we were leaving, Charlotte tried to touch my arm and said she never meant to hurt me. I just looked at her and asked, "Then why did you try so hard?" I left feeling empty. Not victorious, not angry, just tired. The weeks after were a blur of paperwork, lawyer calls, and physical therapy appointments. Charlotte switched tactics from denial to damage control. She told mutual friends I was exaggerating her words, then claimed the recording was taken out of context, then admitted what she said but insisted she didn't mean it. Finally settled on the narrative that we were both unhappy. Our friend circle divided predictably. Her brunch squad stayed loyal despite knowing the truth. Most of our actual friends took a staying out of it approach, which honestly hurt more than I expected. A few, like Ryan and his girlfriend Melissa, stepped up in ways I'll never forget. The financial untangling was messy. Charlotte fought for things she'd never cared about before, like my grandmother's serving dishes, while conceding on bigger issues, like the house. It became clear she was less concerned with the outcome and more focused on prolonging the process. Why? Because her perfect exit plan was ruined. She'd intended to leave me after I recovered, after she secured her promotion, after she'd squirreled away enough of my money. My preemptive exit meant she was now struggling with rent on our place alone, dealing with her own financial mess, and facing social consequences she hadn't anticipated. During a particularly tedious email exchange about who owned what, I had a realization. I didn't care anymore. The plates, the furniture, the stupid overpriced espresso machine she insisted on buying, none of it mattered. I told Dave to give her whatever she wanted of our shared stuff. I just wanted out. That decision shifted something in me. For the first time since this all began, I felt lighter. I found a small one-bedroom apartment near the city center. Nothing fancy, but it has good natural light and no memory. Ryan helped me move in, again with the leg, and a few other friends showed up with housewarming gifts. Normal stuff like cleaning supplies and toilet paper, not the Instagram-worthy presents Charlotte always insisted on. The first night alone in my new place was weird. After months at Ryan's and years with Charlotte, the silence felt heavy. I sat on my secondhand couch, Facebook Marketplace, FTW, scrolling through Netflix without actually watching anything. When my phone buzzed, Charlotte using a new number I hadn't blocked. I signed the papers. It's done. I stared at the message for a long time, 6 years. Done. Just like that. I didn't respond. 2 days later, I ran into Amanda, one of Charlotte's wine and judge friends, at the grocery store. The awkward encounter I'd been dreading. She spotted me first, hovering uncertainly by the produce before approaching. What she said surprised me. She apologized. Not just a quick sorry, but a real acknowledgement that she'd encouraged Charlotte's worst behavior. That afternoon when I overheard them, she admitted they were all jealous of Charlotte's marriage. Amanda's boyfriend had just cheated on her. Jess was going through a divorce. Megan was perpetually single. They'd been bitter, and Charlotte wanted to fit in. Not an excuse, Amanda clarified, just context. She'd realized too late that she'd helped destroy something good because of her own unhappiness. I thanked her for the explanation and wished her well. As I wheeled my cart away, she called after me. "Charlotte misses you, you know. She's just too proud to admit she fucked up." I nodded but kept walking. Some broken things can't be fixed. The divorce was finalized faster than expected. No kids, no complex assets, and Charlotte's lawyer advising her to settle quickly given the evidence. I didn't take her to the cleaners like Reddit commenters urged. Just split things fairly, with her taking responsibility for the fraudulent credit card and me keeping my retirement accounts intact. I got occasional updates about Charlotte through mutual connections. Her big promotion fell through after her presentation tanked, the one from D-Day. She started therapy, according to her social media, where she posts vague inspiration quotes about healing journeys. She moved to a smaller apartment, started dating someone new, then stopped posting about him abruptly. None of it brought me joy or pain. It just was. As for me, life settled into a new rhythm. My leg healed enough for me to start running again, slowly at first, then building distance. I reconnected with old friends I'd neglected during my marriage, joined a local gaming group that meets weekly, deleted dating apps after a few disastrous attempts at getting back out there. I even took a solo weekend trip to the mountains, something Charlotte always vetoed because she hated hiking. Standing at an overlook, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors you can't capture on a phone camera, I had the thought, I'm okay being alone right now. Maybe for a while. 6 months after finalizing the divorce, Charlotte reached out again. She'd been in therapy, she said, realized what she'd lost, wanted to meet for coffee, just to talk. I agreed, mostly out of curiosity. We met at a neutral coffee shop downtown. Charlotte looked different, less polished, more real somehow. The conversation was stilted at first, whereas Jens then eased into something almost comfortable. Almost, she apologized properly this time. No excuses, no justification, just recognition of how she'd hurt me, both before and after I left. She explained, not defended, how she'd let external validation and social climbing become more important than our partnership. How she'd started believing she deserved better, because her friends kept saying it, despite having a husband who supported her dreams and loved her genuinely. I listened, thanked her for the apology, wished her well, and felt nothing, no anger, no love, no regret, just the peaceful certainty that I'd made the right decision. As we were leaving, she asked if there was any chance for ever. I looked at her, really looked at her, and said the truest thing I could. Even if I could forgive you, I could never trust you again. And without trust, what's left? She nodded, eyes filling with tears she was too proud to let fall. Then she hugged me quickly and walked away. That was 3 months ago. I haven't heard from her since. Last week I signed a lease on a townhouse, got promoted at work, started dating someone new, taking it slow, being upfront about my baggage. Megan is kind, funny, and direct in ways Charlotte never was. She doesn't play games or care about impressing Instagram followers. When I told her about my divorce, she didn't judge either of us, just said everyone has a past worth learning from. I still have moments where I miss what I thought I had, where I wonder if I could have done something differently, where I wake up reaching for someone who isn't there. But those moments are getting fewer, the spaces between them longer. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't break you all at once. It creates fracture lines that weaken the whole structure. Your trust, your self-worth, your belief in your own judgment. Healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about rebuilding on a stronger foundation. I'm not the same person who stood on crutches in that hallway, hearing his wife say those words. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm just awake, aware of my own worth in ways I wasn't before. So that's it, Reddit. The end of this chapter, anyway. Thanks for witnessing my journey, for the advice, some good, some terrible LOL, and for reminding me that even in our worst moments, we're never as alone as we feel.